everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, before this episode kicks off, I'm giving you guys a bit of a heads up here. Due to circumstances out of our control, this episode was previously filmed at AmFest, and unfortunately, they moved Media Row inside the exhibitor hall under a really loud speaker. So that caused us a bit of a challenge with the audio, but please hang in there with us. Give it a listen because this episode is filled with an amazing guest with a lot of interesting things to say. And if you wouldn't mind giving it a like, giving it a comment, and giving it a share, that would just really help us continue to bring even more interesting people on and help them share their messages. Thank you so much. You guys, I'm here with Calley Means. He is the co-author of the book Good Energy. He is an informal advisor to Bobby Kennedy and Trump with this whole movement. I have to tell you, I have not been suggested or handed a book more over the past year than Good Energy. It is everybody that I talk to is, you have to read this, you have to read this. Why do you think it's resonating with so many people right now?
Honestly, the point of the book is that it's simple. The point of the book is that we're being lied to. I think it's, it starts in my sister's voice, graduated from Stanford Med School, and she has to choose, like every doctor, between 42 medical specialties. And then she's seeing patients, and she's cutting open their sinus inflammation. They're so inflamed they have to pass out and cut out the sinus inflammation. And she sees they have diabetes, heart issues, depression, inevitably, all these comorbidities. And she's reprimanded for asking a question about those different issues.
Yeah.
Everything's siloed, but I think we all feel it. I think that's what is happening in the country right now. We all feel that there's some interconnected things happening. Why are all these kids sick? Why is America the sickest country in the developed world? Why are 80% of Americans overweight or obese? Why do 60% of American adults have prediabetes? Why is fatty liver disease rates at 20% among teens?
Yeah.
Like all of these interconnected things we're being told are complicated. We're being told to trust the science. The book really makes the point that it's simpler and it's more root cause.
Yeah.
It's more interconnected. It's almost a spiritual issue. And I think that and many other voices in this movement have resonated this year, propelled by Bobby Kennedy, President Trump.
Yeah, I mean, did you ever think that you would be in a place where we are bringing the health of America into the political realm? Did you think we would get here?
So you were talking before, I grew up in D.C. I was a young conservative intern at the Heritage Foundation, the White House. And I did, raised in that kind of political environment. And I did have a suspicion in the past couple of years that this was an underpriced political issue because everyone is so frustrated about what's happening. Because I'm a new parent. And that's the conversation among parents. It's the conversation among these health influencers that everyone's following. Joe Rogan, right? He was called a war criminal basically during COVID. I started tuning in. He's talking about looking at the sun and eating healthy and exercising and how these are the foundations of health and how, COVID was an attack on our immune system. We're 4% of the world's population, 16% of COVID death. It's not just a pharmaceutical deficiency. There's a real issue going on with our metabolic health. So in a way, it's amazing what's happened with this Maha movement, with President Trump bringing this incredible coalition with turning points talking about these issues. But I did kind of expect it because I just there was a jump ball for one political party to tap into this. I think it's a war on kids. It's frustration moms are feeling about why kids are getting so sick, and it's obvious in retrospect, but we do just deserve, honestly, President Trump and Bobby Kennedy just deserve a lot of credit for channeling the frustration into a political movement.
So typically conservatives are known for wanting to limit government, right? So how do you see this playing out with them starting to get into more policy-driven or policy-focused aspects of our health? How do we balance the government involvement in our lives and this notion of, but we got to do something to get healthy here?
Well, I'm going to do the political thing. I'm going to dispute the premise of the question.
Okay, great. Go for it. Yes.
But this has been my main goal to preach, particularly to a conservative audience. We don't have a free market right now when it comes to food and when it comes to healthcare. With food, we've had trillions of dollars of incentives to prop up our industrial food system. There's literally SNAP, right? 70% of it goes to ultra-processed food. This is $150 billion a year. We have more agriculture subsidies than any other country in the world combined. that prop up ultra-processed food. Then you get to the scientific recommendations. The USDA today, as we sit, recommends added sugar as a healthy part of a 2-year-old's diet. The USDA, which is totally co-opted by big food, says that a diet 91% in ultra-processed food consumption can be healthy for children. So we're both incentivizing trillions of dollars over the last 10 years and recommending really harmful food to kids. That's because of really explicit corporate capture of our regulatory and our scientific authorities by the food companies. Then when it comes to the medical system, 95% of medical spending is on interventions after people get sick. It's on interventions after people get sick from food. And the pharmaceutical industry, the hospital industry, the insurance industry just demonstrably make money when we're sick, and they've co-opted our health authorities.
So you're saying like we have to do something. Like
no, I'm saying it's a correction of the free market. Okay. I'm saying that calling out and saying that we should have correct scientific advice on food, saying that we should unwind this crony capitalism that makes SNAP food stamps 18% of it go to soda. Talking about these things and correcting this corruption isn't an attack on the free market or overregulation. It's actually correcting corporate capture, and that is very conservative.
Oh, well, how would you phrase it like that? Yeah. Is that a big part of like your mission and your message right now?
I think it's an incredibly positive development that everyone should be celebrating. That you can close your eyes at an America Fest rally or a Trump rally and not know whether you're at a Republican event or some Berkeley session, talking about getting poisons out of our food, talking about protecting kids, talking about even the medical freedom. That's a left wing. Sure. I mean, these are all bipartisan issues.
Yeah.
I think for whatever reason, just to be blunt, the left has somehow post-COVID been the party of big pharma, the party of big food, the party of trust.
The switch here. I mean,
science is corrupt. Yeah, it's a switch, but I think the voters are all there. The voters want transparency from our scientific agencies. They want medical freedom. They want patients to be able to choose.
Yeah.
I think that's a universal concept and an American concept. So if you really break down what the MAHA movement is, it's extremely bipartisan. And yeah, I've been extremely passionate. I've talked with Tucker. A large part of this really blew up with my sister and I with Tucker. I mean, it was crazy. Apple just came out. It was the most shared podcast this year, and something tapped in with that. I think really largely to my sister, just communicating this message to moms, and there's just so many other data points with how Bobby's resonated with how just so many leading voices. I was out there yesterday with Vani Hari, Food Babe, who's one of the best grassroots organizers for moms. It's just like there's hundreds of voices, thousands of voices that have really resonated this year, and I'm really proud it's happened among left and right.
Absolutely. So as an advisor, what are going to be some of the key things that you hope to make an impact on?
Yeah, I think let's just go through the scientific, the agencies within HHS, because the HHS, which Bobby Kane is taking over, is the largest. It's actually the largest government department of any government in world history. It's the largest department in the U.S. It's a $2 trillion budget. It's a massive part of our economy. It's much bigger than the Defense Department or any other budget. So he's taking that over. What does that entail? We started the NIH. The NIH is the lifeblood of scientific research in the country right now. And right now, 85% of their funding goes to pharma R&D. So what does that mean? It's accepting that we're getting diabetes, Alzheimer's, heart disease, cancer. It's just accepting that. And then they're spending all their money on a Alzheimer's drug to mask the problem. We should be asking, why is Alzheimer's rates exploding and younger people getting Alzheimer's? So the directive from President Trump is get the NIH back to foundational research. Everything flows from that. Right now, NIH research is propping up a recommendation from the American Academy of Pediatrics that obesity is a genetic condition and that Ozempic needs to be prescribed as a first-line defense to 12-year-olds. That's the recommendation from the science right now. We need to figure out why we're getting sick. We need to figure out why every single chronic disease is going up, and that can then set policy. So that's for the NIH. With the FDA, 75% of it's funded by pharma right now. The FDA itself is literally just co-opted by pharma. It costs $2 billion to get a drug through. This is not an anti-pharma agenda. It's an anti-big pharma agenda. Big pharma is totally co-opted the FDA, so there's no innovation. There's no innovative blood tests that are getting through FDA approval. There's no innovative AI technologies that help people make better preventative choices. There's no real innovative therapeutics that help cure disease. When big pharma has a drug that can cure something, they had one for type 1 diabetes, they cut it. That's not the business model. So it's deregulation of the FDA to have more innovative therapeutics come through. And then CMS, it's this boring agency nobody likes to talk about. It's the biggest agency in government. It's a $1.7 trillion budget. That's where all the Medicare, Medicaid funding go through. It's, that one department is 1.5 times larger than all defense and intelligence spending. And Dr. Oz is taking that over. Right now, all CMS codes that drive 20% of our economy are made by the American Medical Association, which is a pharma lobbying group. We just outsource code creation to them. And the American Medical Association has the judgment. They recently reiterated that a 2-year-old can get gender transition surgery. That's literally the judgment that the American Medical Association has. And they create our codes for every single condition that drive, really when a doctor sees you and you've got, your kid is a little bit sad, SSRI. It's like if your kid is a little fidgety, Adderall. All of that is driven by the AMA code. So we need to reform our actual standard of care with the better research in the NIH. So those are the general principles that Trump and Bobby have been talking about.
Well, you said that you're a new parent.
Yes.
How new?
Oh, he's a little under 3. So
but still that's young. Like when you look back at your life, when he's grown, when he's out of the house, what do you really hope is the biggest impact that you leave here with the work that you're doing?
That he is incentivized to see the beautiful interconnected system of his body, that he's able to understand and be incentivized through our medical system, that diabetes is not a metformin deficiency and heart disease is a STAT deficiency, that these interconnected chronic diseases that are crippling the American people are actually due to a lack of respect for cycles and our environment, frankly. I mean, our soil is so depleted, what we're putting into our body, that tomato is 70% less nutrient dense than it was 50 years ago. I hope that he sees this important human and spiritual journey that everyone should be on in life, to understanding what we put in our body, our habits are the core of health. And that sounds kind of woo-woo, but like when it comes to public policy, that could be incentivized and recommended. Like, why isn't the government recommending that we get more active? Why isn't the government incentivizing food as medicine? Sunlight. Mm-hmm. Kids in a school right now have less time outside than a maximum security prison. Mm-hmm. They're stuck under these, LED lights that are really damaging.
Yeah, or how about we let people, why don't we talk about natural immunity again? And like our immune system actually works. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah. So I hope he just has more it's about awe and curiosity. Mm-hmm. We've lost the awe and curiosity. We were much healthier actually 200 years ago. We had acute issues that could kill us right away. We have had great successes, but our immune systems were much better.
Yeah. Well, Calley, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. I would love to have you come back on any time on the show. I absolutely love your book. Recommend it to everybody. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find it and follow you?
Yeah, Good Energy is available everywhere. And Calley Means on the socials, talking a lot about this and really trying to make sure Bobby and President Trump are successful on this MAHA agenda, which I think is going to change the country and change politics, to that healthier paradigm of health.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. We look forward to what you're going to be doing.